Alright. So, I've had some time to digest the testing that I did. And I've got a couple of ideas for continuing on with this, which I'm probably going to have to do. But I also came up with a couple of ideas to salvage this and make it so that I can more easily grab the fries with this, right? So, I'm going to first try to figure out how I can salvage this. That's wrong. Okay. I forgot that that had a... There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line... No, I'm going to bring this down because this geometry isn't directly on the sketch, but this one is. Okay. And this is horizontal so that when it's open, right, I can like get into the fries better, you know? And then if I do this, that just changes the angle of that. Okay. And it doesn't have to be too big, it just has to be a little bit. I might shape that slightly differently. I don't know. Gonna go ahead and trim this, and what I'm gonna make now is essentially a there. What I'm making now is essentially kind of just a sleeve to put over this, just to test if the idea for this works. So I'm going to offset this by that much, and then offset it again by that much. And then I'm gonna make these all constructions because they kind of are just a modification to the shape of this, but I need to modify the shape of the other bit. So okay, make this tangent to this, and this tangent to this, and this tangent to this, and trim it here and here. That can only go so far. Let's measure this. Ooh. Let's make it 15. or even just 12. And I'm going to put a point there. Okay, just... Then extend this. So I'm trying to figure this out because I think that it needs to be pointy, more or less. Because the pointy of this one helped. But I also think that it needs to have a certain angle. And I want to have something that I can add onto this. But what really needs to happen is I need to actually cut this off, you know? But in order to do that, I'd have to just make a new one of these from scratch. And I can't really do that. Near vertical or near horizontal. I think that would be a better geometry, you know. Well, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put a line here and here. Make this one tangent to this and this perpendicular to this. Okay. That's construction line. Now I'm gonna go ahead and extrude that down to here. And hopefully that'll help me to like, no, that's not right. Hang on. Okay, so that's not gonna really help. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and just continue with the scrapes. Because what I think will help with this is that if I go back into the sketch that created them, I think that this should be nearly there. I think that that should be nearly pretty much horizontal. Okay. What's the problem with this one? The profile reference is lost. Try editing this feature to okay. What was it? What? I don't think that was correct. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back out this way. Just a lot. Okay, now the only problem is the fillet. Oh, I see. Okay. I need this to be longer. Like about that long and about that short. Yeah, and now there's nothing. There. That brought it back. Cool. Anyways. I don't like what this has done to everything, so okay. I'm back to that not being quite horizontal. Because that's fine. That's fine. It doesn't have to be exactly horizontal. It just has to be near horizontal. Okay, I'm going to make a sketch here. And I'm going to project this plane and this plane. I'm going to make a line here I'm also going to project this line. I'm going to make this one perpendicular to this line. Put a point intersecting these lines. And make that 0.8. And then this, I'm going to put a line going out this way. That's going to cut everything off. And then I'm going to have to measure, put a line going from here all the way to here. Ah, that is, of course that's that, of course. That's very close. Okay. So what I think I need to do is have a line coming out to like here, right? And then another line that's pretty much horizontal here, right? No, hang on. I'm having a hard time with the geometries of these things. I think I'm going to bring this up here. Okay. Because if I get... Because whatever. I'll just cut this off first. Right? That gives me enough room there that it's printable. So an issue with this was that the length of it is pretty long, and I can go do a couple things about it, or I can rotate this on this axis by about 9.1 degrees. Start a sketch here. Project this point. Nope. Hang on. Okay. That's what I needed to do. Okay. Go back into this sketch. Put a line going from the origin out to here. And measure. Oh, and then put another line going from this point to the origin, which is actually this line here. and measure that. $13.6 Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and move this, what was it, Z? 13.6. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna need to do. I'm gonna need to essentially be better at designing the geometries of these scoops. So essentially the problem with this one was that it would crush whatever was out here, and because this wasn't scrapey, it would also just kind of squish whatever was in here. I need to be able to grab from the outside of everything. So try again. Not on that surface, not on that one. Start on here. Make these perpendicular. .65. 2.65. And I need to come out some ways and be near vertical, right? And then this, okay, and then this, right? Where is, okay. And then this is 0.8. Hang on. This is 0.8. Which one gives me less? Versus is this on the midpoint or something? Whatever. That one moved. This one decided it doesn't want to move. So it's 0.8 and it's perpendicular to this one. Then if I put it here, it's very close. Okay, so it really doesn't matter. All right. And then I have to measure from here to the origin. And a line at the origin. There. 12.9. What happens if I make it 13? How did that change everything? Probably just made this slightly longer. Then if I rotate it by 13, right? All this, rotate on, oh, that's right, I can't pick a single point as an axis, which is stupid. Rotate on this by 13. Okay. And then what is that? That is... This is how much space I have. This is how much depth I have, right? 5 millimeters, which is 10 millimeters total. And I don't like that. I'd like to have more. I'd like to have approximately 30, so I need about 3 times as much. So if I delete that, and then I move this way, and then I move this, I need to make this longer. Interesting. Okay. Right. And then if I take this and that's 10. Right, and then I move that. I rotate it. Ten, right? So that's an interesting thing. That's an interesting... It's an interesting note. Let me try something. If I want to put it like, say, here, right? Like 15. Delete that. And that's there, right? Then I put this there. And then this and then this, and then this. No. And then this, and then this, and I'll give it a little bit more. Why? Oh, because it has a perpendicular constraint. Bring this in. Whoops. All right, 105. And then I don't want it to stick out too far, right? And I rotate it such that this is okay. And then if I make this perpendicular to this, whoa, that didn't work. It has to be a okay. So if I put this perpendicular to this, and then okay. That's a construction line. Okay. Then this see. This is perpendicular to this. And then this is parallel to this. And then this is 2.65. Extend this that way, and then print it in this direction, and then this is perpendicular to this one, and trim it and make it 0.8. Want to change that angle slightly. Okay. That looks good, I think. And then if I offset, hang on. Can I change what this is? No, it failed to solve. Okay. So that should be driven. Okay, and then 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. Can I change this to like 18? Put a point here, then dimension to measure this at close to 12, 19. Did that change what this is? No, it didn't. Okay. It moves that up, but it doesn't move anything else because I've got... So put this as close as possible to this to get it... So that would be... There is a point at which this takes off too much volume and this takes off too much distance. So I'm gonna assume that that's just the midpoint of this line here. There. And then put this also at the origin, and that is very close. Very, very close. So that's good. So let's see what happens if I... two sides, 4.5 inches minus 20 millimeters. All right. So essentially now what I've got is a scoop or a thing that can grab stuff, kind of. Right? And now things will fall out of it, obviously. Until... God, 50 now. 2.4. Nope. Start it here. And then minus 2.4. Okay, so now I've got a better designed scoop, and it really should be scooping in this direction, but it really should be going in this direction, but it's probably going to be going in that direction. I can test it both ways. But in order to test it both ways, I'm going to need a way of rotating things. Okay, get rid of this sketch. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start a sketch here on this plane. .4. Make another rectangle. It's also 2.4, and put them apart by 20 plus 0.5. And put them in here. Alright, that's where this will go. Kinda, I think. See, the other one I made was left-handed, which is good for lefties, but not good for me, obviously. So by putting the slot for this to be in here, now it's right-handed. Here. Okay. All right. So now this has to be small enough to fit. Okay, click on. Okay. Okay, okay. Driven? What? This dimension would overconstrain the sketch. Why is it overconstrained? Oh, I see. Okay. it accidentally snapped. I believe it was 53. It needs to go some amount, but not. Then these are parallel, and they're 2.4 apart. And this is 2.4 from this one. What plane is this sketch on? It's on this plane. I should have put it on this plane. Hang on. Okay. Okay. 2.4. 2.4. There we go. And then needs to have enough of an angle that things can slide down, but not so much that it takes away a lot of volume. Like that'll definitely let things slide down. $50 is too much. 40 looks good. 30 might work. 35. Okay. Extrude this. All join. Okay. Gonna put a sketch here. Gonna go ahead and project this. Gonna go ahead and put a line here. Gonna go ahead and cut this out. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring the sketch back and cut all of this. wait, hang on. And project all of that. Okay. Then change this one to also include the small one, the small one. There. Start here and go to here. Get rid of the tongs so that it doesn't cut through the tongs. Okay, whatever. There. Then I can chamfer that until it's... No, I can't because... Yes, I can. What happens if I cut this away? Nothing. Cool. Okay. So, now what I've got is... I should have... No, not there. Why does it do that? How does it do that? I just click some random spot and it's like, oh, there's a plane there. Okay, project this, this, extend that. Put a line here. Cut that out. And then there. Okay. So now that's out, right? Start a sketch here. and project this line here. Is that what I want? Is that what I want to do? No, that's not what I want to do. There, okay. Okay. So now I've got a scoop that's actually designed well-ish, right? Kind of. And I'm not going to bother with, like, curving any of these edges right now because it just doesn't matter at the moment. So now what I have to do is something that's kind of annoying, I think. So the way this is going to work, I don't like how this is probably going to work, because like what's going to happen is it's not going to be able to grab much because these tongs are fixed, right? And so there's like a set length. So like if the fry basket, watch, if the fry basket was like, I don't know, this is something like, hang on, I actually have something like 6 inches. And something like 15 inches? That doesn't make any sense. It could be this. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. The fry basket is about that big, right? The tongs aren't going to be able to get in there and scoop, right? So I can't scoop in that direction. But what I could do is create a circle on here. It doesn't matter actually how big the circle is. Put it here, put it there. How big is that circle? Let's make it 10. Not 100. Not 410. 10. 0.5. Okay. So now I'm gonna make a sketch here. Actually, no. I'm gonna start a sketch here and measure out everything on this. It's 2.4 4 20. Those are the important. Okay. Now I'm going to make a sketch here. Put a line. 4 20 2.4 equilateral triangle. Okay. Offset this by there. Put that in there any old where. For now, project that geometry there. Let's go ahead and dimension this as 1/4 of a millimeter. There are multiple. Okay. Actually, I'm going to put a point here and a point here, and then delete everything between the points. So I put a line here, so I can put another line going from the midpoint to that midpoint, and that didn't work. Okay. Now what happens if I do this? There we go. And that didn't work because okay. So midpoint here, midpoint there. Oh, I've got it. There. Now I know that's the center. There. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and extrude this some distance. Alright. Then extrude, bring the sketch back. Gosh, there are so many sketches. I'm probably on the 60s now. Yep. I accidentally selected something. Okay. There we go. Start here. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, okay. Offset this by negative 0.25. Extrude this. Start at an object. This object. At about 5. Is that well in there? A 6 maybe? Actually, let me try something. Go back to this sketch and measure this. 5.6. .2. It's bigger than this gap, so that I'll have to stretch this open. So I'll have to make it thin. Something will have to stretch, but I think it'll stretch enough. And if it doesn't stretch enough, I can just cut it off. So now the idea there is that this would go into here and it would rotate, right? So that I can stick it in, so that I could stick it in this way, and then it would rotate, right? Across this axis, like that, right? And then I could actually get a good scoop going, and then I could rotate it back to close the other end. That's an idea. So That's what that is. Or if worse comes to worse, I've got this set up. I've got this in a rectangle shape. I'll keep that in a rectangle shape so I can put the other end in here. So I could just kind of like, just put this end in here, grab it with the other end, and then see if I can just use it as just a regular scoop. You know, a scoop on a stick. Small scoop on a big stick. So I'll see. I'll see how well this works. I think I've got... What I don't like is that this has to... Okay, hang on. This doesn't have to be as tall as it is. This doesn't have to be as tall as it is. I can extrude this. I can... Let's see. Make a plane that goes up to about here, right? And then I can go ahead and extrude this, starting on this plane. Starting on this plane, going here. And then I can go ahead and split this using this plane. And then I can see how well that works without using a crap load of material. So gonna go ahead and save this, not the sketch, the body. Body 21, save as, no, rename it first. Scrape test 2. Save as mesh, okay. Save. And now I'll go ahead and see how well this works. And I hope it works. Because if this doesn't work, I might just give up and say that, hey, I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure this out. But if it does work, I will continue. And even if it doesn't work, I might continue. I don't know. I still might give up. Because I really don't know what I can do. This is a tough problem. That's probably why it hasn't been solved yet. But this is... Question, if I fillet that, yeah, that's the same. Okay, so save. I will be back to see how well this works. All right, I've got it printed, and I'm gonna go ahead and test it. I'm really only going to test whether it can scoop. The idea is if this can scoop, right, then I would print the full size and the mirror of it, and then closing the tongs would have you, you know, be grabbing it, you know. So yeah, it scoops, but then closing the tongs won't do much there because it scoops stuff not too well. So that's that. It does scoop. Right, now, of course, there's a little bit of leeway here because I need this to be the full size in order to actually get meaningful amounts. So I'm glad that it scoops. I'm also glad, I also think that closing a mirror on it won't do much in terms of keeping things from moving. Well, it'll do some, but it shouldn't do too much because things are going to go down that way, not that way. And it didn't. Oh yeah, the other one. I don't remember where I put the other one, but the other one didn't really have much of an issue with that either. So now I'm going to test out the rotational thing. Right, and so the idea here is I would essentially clear it out and then put it down and then scoop, right? And that works pretty nicely. Let me put it back in the, let me see if I can. Okay. This really doesn't matter where this is, just as long as it's not in the way. Okay. So let me see this again. Right? And it really didn't change much, so I'm going to go with the solid version, not do the rotational bit. But it was worth a shot. It doesn't provide any real advantage. I did want to do one thing, right? I've got this scooped up. I wanted to see if I could, I don't know, close this half on it. But this is half of a different design, so it's not really gonna fit. But maybe I could put a, yeah, there we go. Now it's holding it tightly. There's no room for them to fall out. What if I... Okay, so they'll fall out that way. So it is loose enough that some of them will fall out. So that's good. I'm gonna go with this design now. In fact, I think I should be able to... Also, I'm gonna stop forming this. I'm gonna stop forming it. I'm gonna stop forming it to the shape of the tongs, like this one is, because it's just easier to do it that way. Like, it's easier to put the tongs in and out, right? And they still hold when I need it to hold. So I'm gonna stop doing that shape. So yeah, it scoops just dandy. Now I gotta decide whether this way is how I'm gonna dump them, or if I'm gonna dump them like the other design. Because if I dump them the way the other design works, then I don't know. You know what? Let me see and get the other design real quick. Well, I don't know where it is. In the meantime, I'm gonna go test the other design again and see about using it differently than how I intended to. Maybe if I scoop with the other design with this, then it'll help, because if that works, then I can just modify the other design to be more akin to this. And is that bent, or is that piece? That's a strand of filament that's loose, because this filament sucks. I think it's because there's nothing in it, or it could be, you know what, more likely actually, is not that there's no pigment, it's probably that it came from a cheap brand, so it's probably just not high quality filament. But I also don't like using clear filament because it's hard to get a good first layer, because it's hard to see the first layer. So anyways, I'm gonna continue with this design, and I'm gonna try and see if I can get a similar behavior with the previous design, because if the previous design works like that, then I can also just modify the previous design. I'm not gonna record that because I want to hurry up and eat these fries, but I'll see.